Welcome to K Studios Conversations with Kaotick. I got Mr. Bryant Jones in the building. I'm talking to him tonight for y'all. Got an interesting topics, man. We gonna talk a little bit about the church and a little bit about religion and how that plays a part in the Black community nowadays. What's up, Brian?
What's going on?
What's going on, man? Glad to have you tonight. So won't you just give me your input on, what role does the church play in the Black family and how you feel about that role it plays?
Okay. Well, I feel like this, man. I feel like it's not just the Black family, it's most families. Most families have some belief in some kind of higher power, some kind of higher being that sort of, controls the universe, controls our inner selves, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I believe that in my personal life, the God that I serve, has helped me out personally, in my own life. I know people will beg to differ, you know, but I feel like once I opened myself up to the possibility of God, that's when things started changing for me in my life. And and things start progressing, where I've been in trouble before and things like that, but people start giving me opportunities where I wasn't getting opportunities before. So for me personally, I feel like me and my wife, we had different backgrounds, where I was a rough guy. I was from the streets and all that kind of stuff, where she had never been in trouble and all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that God is what helped us make it through being so different. There were times where obviously we would want to give up, things like that, but just our belief in God, our and I know people look at it like different ways, but I believe that God is more, along the lines of God is love, so when you open yourself to that aspect of it, the rest of it is gonna work itself out. You know what I mean? And it's just that simple. So when me and my wife accepted it, that's how it happened for us. Like I'll give you an example. We can't we were on food stamps, Section 8, all that kind of stuff. We got off of those things. And so we said that since we're not eligible for it no more, we're not gonna use them anymore. We're not gonna buy them from people and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And so holiday came up, so we was gonna get some from a sister-in-law one time, and so we got about $400 worth of groceries. Now we have said to God we weren't gonna do this no more. So we got about $400 worth of groceries. We get to the cash register. My wife got the card in her hand. All of a sudden, it disappears. Literally,
Mm-hmm.
the card disappeared, and we ended up paying cash because let's be realistic. We human, and you got this embarrassment thing where you ain't about to put all this stuff back. It's the
Right.
holiday, so we went on to pay cash. Okay, so with that, by the time we got home, the people, well, it might have been the next morning. Yeah, it was, the next morning the maintenance went somehow though, just the right way. This card slipped down into the machine where they had to open the machine up, and the card was on the inside of the machine where
Wow.
we looked all. I'm talking about we all on the floor looking all over the place, but we feel that we made this promise to God that this is not what we're going to do anymore. So as soon as we started doing it, bad repercussions happened. You see what I mean? So
Right.
we said we weren't going to do that no more, and we did it. Let me give you another example. I come from a background of stealing and receiving stolen goods and all that kind of thing, selling things, and so I gave all that life up. um I bought a stolen GPS from a family member. Okay, the first night that I leave my van open, somebody steals the GPS out of my car. I mean, the first night I parked in my driveway, excuse me, first night, and it wasn't really open, but they, it was they used a screwdriver, got in, stole the GPS, right? Then I bought my own GPS, and there was nights where I would literally fall asleep in the house with the van in the driveway and the windows down and everything, and nobody ever bothered that GPS. You see what I'm saying? And I had that
Right. So
I had that GPS until I got a car that came with its own GPS, and so I didn't need it anymore. But I still have the GPS. But my point being, when I put my faith in God and I said that I'm not going to receive stolen goods and I'm not going to have stolen goods or any of that kind of stuff no more, and I went against what I promised God, there was repercussions for it. Like I said, no, I didn't go to
Okay,
jail or anything like that for it, but somebody stole it from me the same way it was stolen from someone.
let me ask you a little bit of a broader question, right?
Okay, okay.
The black community been involved in the church like heavily. It was, at least in America, it seemed like it was introduced to us during slavery. You know what I
Right.
mean? So since then till now, has that religion helped us or hindered us, you think?
I think
And I'm
it's
talking
helped.
about the religion. I'm not talking about the really your relationship with God. Has that religion, right,
Right.
helped us from slavery to now, or has it hindered us?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I think it's helped us a lot in a lot of ways because, like I said, man, I feel like I said, God is love, and so with that, this is how I feel. Just being honest with you, as a black man, I realize that we're an aggressive culture. You get what I mean? And so I feel like without that little bit of restraint, without that little bit of God, something to believe in, I think it would have been a lot worse for our people than it is now, because we are, let's just be realistic. Most black people have some kind of relationship or have some kind of knowledge of God, but refuse to acknowledge him because of whatever reasons. We say, okay, well, it wasn't even for us. They translated, they stole and all this kind of stuff. But see, the thing what people forget, and the thing that we have to realize as a black people, they did not steal us. We were sold. Okay, they actually came over there in boats, on a boat pretty much, and said, hey, we heard y'all selling black people over here. We heard y'all selling slaves. You see what I'm saying? Because the reality is the whole continent of Africa, they were enslaving each other already. They were selling slaves to Afghanistan and little countries like that before they were Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq and all these. They was already selling slaves. It wasn't no secret. So when they came, like, hey, I heard y'all selling slaves. We'd like to use some too. Oh yeah, we got a whole bunch of these. And the reality was they had a whole culture of black people that they already deemed was worthy enough to get rid of. That's who they started with. But then the product, the demand got more than the product, excuse me. And so with that, the demand got too high. And so ended up, it also was the tribal leaders ended up on the boat also because we need more. We need more.
Let me ask you a question. So do you think those people were the Israelites? Do you think we the Israelites?
I believe like this, man. I believe
But you
that
said it was a
we are
group of
part.
people that they
I
wanted to
believe it's
tell.
been misinterpreted. Okay, I believe that we are part of that because if you really look into the Bible, slavery and all of that is part of there. You get what I'm saying? And if you look back as far as you can go, and that's what I'm talking about, as far as you can go, blacks was already enslaved. That's the Egyptians was enslaving blacks. Blacks were enslaving blacks. Like I said, all these little other places, they were already enslaving blacks. The only difference, and I'm just going to be honest with you, I'm going to put it to you in this way. We can blame white people, but the actuality is they won. Okay, and let me explain what I mean by that. Okay, everybody was running around trying to conquer. Africa was trying to conquer, this country was trying to conquer, that country was trying to conquer, but the only difference was they were able to reach out farther. In Africa, they had boats that they can go over water just as far as they wanted to go. Now, as far as the oceans, they wasn't ready to navigate that all the way yet. You see what I mean? But then
Wait. So it's a
think about what I'm saying.
I
Listen to
hear
me.
you. Yeah, that's why I
Here's
asked you.
the
That's why I
idea. The
paused for a
idea
minute. Let me
behind
say
all
just a
of it,
second. Just
even
a
to
second.
this
I want to
day.
touch on something you said. I want to touch on something you said.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of evidence, man. I mean, a lot that we
Don't
was
get me
already
wrong.
here. Like that.
I'm not saying they
Wait.
wasn't horrible
I
people.
didn't. That we was already here.
Okay, yeah.
So you saying we wasn't globetrotting at that time?
No,
They
that's
was the
not what I'm
only
talking
ones
about.
that had the technology to get from
No,
coast to coast.
no. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about with the conquering mentality because that's what. Listen, that's what I'm talking about. That's mostly even till 2021. We see it right now. China,
So wait, a conquering mentality. So Egypt predates the Bible. right? So
Okay. Yep.
Egypt, Egypt wasn't running shit.
And listen to me, conquering.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic though. The reality is Egyptians weren't the only people. They weren't the only people.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I'm saying? And
they
so and so with that, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
they
listen,
culture still here though. They one of the only people who culture still here. The
I
pyramids are
mean,
still here. Their writing is still here.
yeah,
They're some of the only civilization where their stuff is still here. I don't want to
right,
get too far off topic though.
yeah, right.
So you saying the Bible and the Christian religion has helped us post
What
slavery?
what I mean by that is help the mentality. You get what I'm saying? It's giving a lot of people something to believe in. It's hope, as far as like instead of I'm just so it's over with and there is nothing left
And
for me.
you take that as a positive that it is giving us hope.
Um yeah, in ways because I mean if you look at the downside, I mean because like I said, man, just let's be realistic. Look at most of what we do to ourselves versus what we can actually blame on what. I mean, I understand history. I'm not erasing history at all. We
What would you
understand what happened with slavery and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm saying with that is we understand that our people was oppressed and all this kind of stuff that I'm not talking about that.
what would you
Okay,
say
I'm
to
talking
people who say that's hindered us instead of helped us?
what's that?
The Bible and Christian religion. What would you say to people who think that that's hindered us and not helped us?
Okay, but
It's
I
made
would
it
ask them
what
how.
one more thing. That
I
has
would
made
ask them
us
how.
sort of submissive.
That's what I'm saying. I would ask them how.
I
Because what
there's
what what
some that argue that it teaches you to wait. It teaches you not to act, but to turn the other cheek and to wait on God to act instead of you acting.
and so this is my question. What are we acting on? Acting on what?
I
Acting and see,
mean,
this is my point. This is my point. What am I acting on? Am I acting on better in my life? Because that isn't that the goal? What
well,
other than that, what are we acting on? I'm saying what are we acting
well,
on?
you're waiting on blessings instead of going to create them.
Um, sort of, but at the same time, I don't see it that way either. How I see it is that, um, like you said, if you're just sitting by waiting, you sitting in a chair waiting, a lot of times it don't happen for you. But what God does is He gives you ability to do things. Like for instance, how some look at it like God gave me the ability this morning to get up and walk where some could. Some didn't even get up this morning at all. You see what I'm saying? Some was, and so that's how it can be translated in a lot of ways. So yeah, there's going to be people who don't agree with that. That's obvious. That's why we have so many different religions and different sects of religion and different things like that. But the reality is what we forget is God's word. Yeah, it's been translated and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is the essence is the same. The essence of what He said from back when it first started to now is pretty much the same. Yeah, it's been trampled over and stamped on and all that, but the true essence is the same. And it doesn't matter what color you are and what religion you're in. And I'll say that with the Buddhists, with the Muslim, with the Christians, and that's just three of the main ones. So what I'm gonna say is, for instance, with them, everyone in each one knows that at some point what you have to do is you have to kind of give yourself up to this higher being to get to enlightenment or to get to the heaven or get to a better place, or you get what I mean. So and so with that, that's what I mean by, because just that's everybody's goal to have a, you know what I'm saying? But for the whole, as humans in each one of those religions, it tells you as humans, we're normally evil, corrupt people. And so that's why only a few will be actually chosen. You can work towards it and everything like that, but you know yourselves first of all. And so that's what I mean by God is love. We can go to these churches and we can listen to the pastors and all that, but the essence of what's in there is not changed. Now, we can get translated different things, but the essence is the same. And that is God is love. Treat people right, you're going to be treated right. And most of the time that works out. You do for people, things will be done for you. And it's not necessarily that you're looking for that reciprocal or that return like that, but that's usually how it works out. But as a but as a but as a culture, what I feel is a lot of times we're so hurt, and people don't want to say that we're hurt, but we're hurt. because we don't know who we are. We don't know where we come from. We can do an ancestry.com and they'll give us a general area of for where we're from. That's literally 3/4 of America. You get what I'm saying? It's the size of, it covers 3/4 of America. So that's not really telling me where I'm from, because in that area, it may be 10,000 different tribes that existed at that point or whatever. You get what I'm saying? So that's not telling me.
Just to touch on that a little bit, this is the way I see it, cuz.
Go ahead.
I think during slavery, they created a whole nother race of people. With all the rape and stuff that went on, you literally, within 400 years, that's within a fraction of that time, within 2 generations, you can create a whole nother race of people. And I think that's what they did. I think the Black Americans are a whole different race of people. I wouldn't even call them African, because all the rape and all the mixed blood that we have.
And I agree. But
now.
Hear this though. But hear this. I'm going to be honest with you. But for what I feel like, this is the only thing that has really translated. You're right. Everything has been mixed. The only thing that has translated is racism, the history of it. Because the reality is, you see it every day. A white person that looks completely white, European, blase Skippy, has found out that he has 10% African American in it. You get what I mean? Because it's not just us that was, you know what I'm saying, that was the product of it. It was also them, because it was some of us that could, so-called, as they say, pass for white. You get what I mean? And so they were spreading, they were also, creating and procreating. And you get what I mean? So yeah, I'm very aware, and I'm with you on that, it's not just the Black race, it's just the whole race as a whole. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I say, like, I feel like we're all in the same shit and we just don't realize it. We're so busy fighting each other, when the reality is, literally, I could be right here and pass out in my chair as I'm talking to you, and the only person that can help me is somebody over in India who has the same blood type, the same whatever. Me and this person has never met. We don't have any connection with each other, any of that stuff. We want to separate each other, but the reality is we're so much alike. That's the true essence of what the real battle is. I mean, just saying, with a white guy, he could be the clan leader, and he could pass out his chair, and the only person that can save him is this Black church leader from in Uganda, but at the same time, that's the only thing that can save him, and that's the only thing that's able to keep him going. And he may not even give this guy reverence after that. Oh, thank you for helping me or whatever. But the reality is, we try to separate each other so much, but that's not the truth. The truth is, we're human first, and then we have a skin texture. You get what I mean? And so once we get past that, then some of the things can, and that's what I'm saying, we're all in America together. There is no way that it's going to be all white or all Black. We have to realize that. And so with that, you see it. You cannot go in Walmart without seeing. Go ahead.
You mentioned something about skin texture, and you mentioned, you were talking about how similar we are. I think our skin and the melanin is what makes us different.
Obviously, because that gives us an actual,
melanin changes the ball game for us.
Yeah, as far as it does, but the reality of changing the ball game for us, what does it enlighten us? Does it help us, or does that, has that been the curse? You get what I mean?
I don't think that's the curse at all. Melanin allows us to absorb sunlight, and our counterparts cannot do that. And the sun is what gives this whole world life. You know what I mean? So the very thing that gives this world life helps us.
I get it.
But it kills them.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
But at the same time, let's be realistic. When you put it in that aspect, and so with that, if you look it up and do the research, sun also kills us. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, that's because we have been watered down, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, how can you change that now? What can you do about it?
I don't think.
What I'm saying is, we can agree on that. But I'm saying in 2021, Okay, let's just be realistic. In 2021, I realized that there are white people that do not like me, that hate me, and if they had an opportunity, they probably would try to kill me or something of that nature. And I get that. I'm very aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
But my reality is, like I told you, if I go out to the grocery store or something of that nature, and I come home and my house is broken into, most of the time, first thing I'm not gonna think of was it a white guy who broke into my home, or sometimes where I remember being single and I may have a female friend sitting in my car while I go into a corner store or something, living on the southeast side of Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I come back out to my car and it's locked and she has to unlock the door. And she's a black female that grew up on this side, but she locked the door. She wasn't worried about any white guy running up on her, harassing her, or anything of that nature. She was worried about black people. You get what I mean? So that's what I mean by us being our own enemy. She wasn't worried about, because let's be
So
realistic. The reality is, if we were in a white neighborhood, she probably would have left the door unlocked and would not been uncomfortable at all. That's kind of the reality.
I think that's a very, very dangerous way to think. Because I'm gonna always go to the source. Why? Right? Why
Yeah,
are these neighborhoods unsafe? And why are the white neighborhoods not? That's politics.
because we live differently. It's not just that.
I
Also,
think
it's
I
politics.
think
Obviously,
I
it's
think
obviously
it's
politics.
more politics than it is us, right?
I
So
don't believe that.
if you put any creature, right, in a hostile environment, you're gonna get different results than if you put them in a peaceful environment. And I think we're deliberately and purposely put into these environments. There's a reason why the Southeast is crime riddled. You know what I mean? It ain't like that in East Grand Rapids.
You know why? Because, like I
Politics.
said, it's not politics,
It
man.
is, cuz.
Okay, I mean, I understand but listen to what I'm saying, and it's just this simple. If we know to do better, why not? Because
You're
we don't listen. Hang on. Because we don't teach ourselves to do better. Let me just explain this to you, right? This is one example. I'm just gonna give you one example, all right?
Mhm.
Now, we could easily, as we're growing up, we could have, and some families do, don't get me wrong, but the majority of families, of black families, don't have up your pictures of your Martin Luther Kings and your Colin Powells and your Jesse Jacksons and stuff like that. Okay, what they have up there, they'll have a picture up of their single mother bent over in a nightclub picture, showing her butt with 5 of her friends. They'll have 15 different pictures of their aunt with 15 different guys. Okay, that's what they're aspiring to. They're not aspiring to Colin Powell, Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King. Yeah, we hear a little bit about them in school, but that's not what we're learning once we go home. But it's different when what we're learning is, sometimes it's different with some of these, as you say, the other families. When they're going home, yeah, they we might look at it as weird and all that, but their parents are teaching them about credit cards and loans and things like that. But like I said, we're watching our parents drink Hennessy and pull guns out on people in the streets and things like that.
Why
So
you
my thing
so
is, with that, what I'm saying is, we choose that because we see that. Let's be
so
realistic. And I say that because think about how many people don't choose that. And they're in the same environment, they're in the same household. They're in the exact same household. The brother went to prison over and over and over, but this brother, he went to Michigan State, and now he's a financial advisor at a large bank that deals with overseas accounts or something of that nature. That's what I'm saying. We make options. Even
so
myself personally, I chose to join a gang, and I chose to carry a gun. I chose to have a lot of females because I felt like that's what men were. That was our work. That's kind of what you taught. Oh,
so
having a
is
lot
that
of
so you're saying that's the people and not the environment. The environment, does the environment play into that, or is that just us just making wrong decisions?
hey, that too. But okay, listen. Think about the old couple that lives in the hood, the old black couple that lives in the so-called hood, and their grass is always cut and trimmed and nice, and the leaves are always always bagged up on time. The trash is not all over the yard. You get what I'm saying? The house is upkept and all that kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying? But then all the houses around them, they're not doing the same thing. You get what I mean? So
Right.
no, and so with that, that doesn't mean that he retired from GM or Ford Motors or any of that kind of thing. He had a different mentality. And I'm not saying that, don't get me wrong. I'm very aware of circumstances have been set up, their systems put in play. But what I'm saying is, for instance, let me give you an example.
So one more
We
thing.
know
I want
that
to ask you a quick question.
hang on, just let me finish this real quick. We know that they will give you all this time for selling crack rocks. Okay. We know that they're going to lock you up for heroin usage and selling, or however you want to put it. Okay. So my thing is, it's set up. We know this much already. It's in play to catch us. Okay. And that's why they police our neighborhoods so much versus East Grand Rapids and stuff like that, because they're trying to catch you. They're trying to catch you with that gun. They're trying to catch you with that package. They're trying to catch you with that. And that's what we choose to do. We choose to take those chances. I've done it myself. You see what I'm saying? When a lot of times, you have the people that's in your class that's in the same situation as you that choose to do their work and get good grades.
Would you have different results if you grew up in, let's say, East Grand Rapids?
You said, would I?
Yeah, would you have different results if you grew up in East Grand Rapids instead of growing up where you grew up?
It depends on the mind on what was going on when I went home. Because I can go to East Grand Rapids schools and live around East Grand Rapids people and all that kind of stuff. But if I go home and my parents are still acting like the Southeast side, a lot of times I'm going to adapt to that more than the East Grand Rapids side. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. A lot of it's the influences that you see and you do that makes things.
So it's primarily the individual. I mean, because you know what I mean.
Not just that. I'm saying, like, what I mean by that is, let me
give you an example. I can use myself for an example, right? I have an older sister, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We have very different lives right now.
Right.
Why do you think that is? We both had the same opportunities, more or less, right?
But she made choices that you didn't, and that's my point. That's exactly. I just pointed that out. You're the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Right. You made a choice to do better in your life. Now I understand and this is where my point is. You don't say, okay, I'm doing better like this because of God. Somebody else in your exact same situation with the same sister in California. I mean, because we know this, somebody is living the exact same life you are, but the only difference is he is recognizing I'm doing this from God. And it's just that simple. That's what makes us human. That's what makes us have an opinion, because the same person in your opinion, in your situation, is gonna say, I feel like God is blessing me, for versus with you saying, I don't feel like God is. I feel like I did this for myself. And so that's what I'm saying.
Not exactly. You know what I mean? I just have a different interpretation of what God is.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
No, what I'm saying, but overall, I'm saying what I mean by that is, like you said, you went out and got it. You went out and did it. You didn't wait for, like you said, right? You didn't wait for a so-called God to do it for you. You went out and got it. Right.
Well,
so what
I don't want what I mean by that is screw that. Like, so
okay, excuse me, my fault.
You good. You good. The way they interpret God in most churches is not how I interpret God.
Exactly.
And I believe God is in me and works through me.
Yeah. And that's my
point. That's a very different belief than he's up in the sky looking down on me. I don't believe it works that way.
And that's what I was trying to explain, as far as that's why I think it has helped us. You get what I'm saying? And so with that, like you said, you're self-person. That's what I mean by he's in you and he works through you. And so with that, I'm saying, like, just think about if he wasn't in you and working through you, just think about some of the anger that you have sometimes that you haven't been able to control. What would it be like if you didn't have that thought process or that feeling that he's working through you? And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you wouldn't be in the same position or anything, but I'm just saying, what would your mindset be like? And I'm even talking about myself. I realized that my mindset would be a whole lot different. It would be a whole lot more aggressive, a whole lot more And that's just, I'm just being honest, because I come from that mentality already. And so that's something that I believe that the God that I serve has helped me suppress myself. And that's not, for me, I don't think that's something, because it's the same for the white people. They have those same feelings. You see them, they go through some of the same things. They go into shooting up schools, they shooting each other up, all that stuff. They had them same emotions, them same feelings of that anger and all that. So they also need God to suppress them. I don't think it's a way to just control our minds. I think that's what I'm saying. I think everybody's aware that there's a supreme being, even if you fight against him. Even like for an atheist, they have a fight, they have an enemy. So you have to recognize that you have an enemy in order to fight him. You get what I mean? So yeah, they'll say there's no God, but you have to be able to have an enemy to be fighting somebody. So, or fighting a being, or entity, or whatever you want to look at it as. So you have to recognize them in some way. And so with that, all I'm saying is, it does not matter what color you are. Everybody, every culture has some higher being that they look up to, that they look for reverence, they look for guidance, they look for that inner peace that they work through. You see what I'm saying? That this God, or this inner, this however this spirit is working through you to help you be a better person, a better if you see what I'm saying, at least for you ain't, at least nothing else, you ain't kill nobody today. If that's how he worked through you. It's just different variances, and he works in different ways for different people, and at different times, and in different days and different hours, and it's not all the same. This person may be a big drug dealer, and he might be working with him in a different way than he's working with this person who's been diligent over and over and over and over. Blessings fall, and whoever catches it, they catch it. But in the overall essence of it all, we know that sometimes things happen and we just can't understand why it happened, because we're human. But we understand it happens. Just like with myself, I hit a wall. I had to understand for myself, why not me? Why wouldn't I be, why wouldn't I work myself to, they say, okay, you're disabled now, you can't. I'm human. I'm not a spirit. I did what other people have did to get disability. And so now I'm on it. So that's what I'm saying. If you really think about it, that's what it's all about. God is saying one thing, and we kind of walk over the essence of it to better ourselves, or to fit it into our box. And that's why you have so many different religions. We're like, okay, I like all of this part, but I'm going to take this piece off, and I'm going to just keep with this part, but it's really the same essence. And we all trying to get to that higher place. And we going about it the wrong way, because we fighting each other instead of helping each other. You get what I'm saying? And so a lot of times that's why a community that does help each other and love each other and do good for each other, they're flourishing in that community, versus a community that's always backstabbing and pointing and things like that. And so that's where the mentality comes from. If you always in that community that's backstabbing and fighting and tearing up, that's most likely what your mentality is going to be. Now, there's always outliers in the statistic, where it's going to be some that's worse, it's going to be some that's better, and all in the middle. But with that, you have to make choices. Okay, yeah, I'm going to carry this gun. I know what might happen to me if I get caught with this gun, but I'm making a choice to do it anyway. Or I'm making a choice not to carry a gun. I might get into a situation, someone has a gun and I don't, but I'm making that choice. Or I might live a different life, and I'm not even worried about people in guns or fighting or any of that, because I found a different peace in a different area. And it's like that. That's what makes human life. Life is amazing. We got too much stuff to argue and fight about. But if you really sit back and think about it, life is beautiful, man. Life is amazing. And so with that, yeah, we've had some hard times, and we've had some rough times, and it's gonna be that way. That's called life. If it was easy, everybody will have an answer. There is no answer. And there's no answer because everybody is different. There is one guarantee, and this is my point. There is one guarantee. If you live, you will die. That's it.
Right
So
on.
in the middle, what are you doing for yourself? Are you sitting up worried about what white people did? Because I remember this is 2021, and I just saw a young man on the internet that is a millionaire now. His name is Mose Bowles. He's probably about 16 years old now, but he's been doing bow ties. He makes the bow ties. He's a little black guy. You get what I mean? There's opportunities now. I get it. They they're doing some of the same things that's always been done. They kill black men. They blame us and all this. I get it. But my thing is, if we put ourselves in that situation to be available, they have the space for those available people. And that's all I'm saying. But if you don't put yourself in that space to be available for them, like for instance, myself, if I had never got in trouble, all they would know is my social security number, what school I went to, when I graduated, all that kind of stuff. That's all they will have available for them. But once I put myself in that situation to know that he's a gangbanger, he's a drug seller, he fights, those kind of things, he steals, he carries a gun. Once I put myself in that situation where they knew those kind of things, that's when my problems really became problems. You get what I'm saying? When if I wasn't doing those kind of things, then it wouldn't have been a problem, because there's so many people that lived in those same neighborhoods who didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff because they didn't accept, okay, this is what I have to do. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I like to say I wasn't brave enough myself. And I'm gonna give you an example. There were black children who decided, I don't care about Jordans, I don't care about clothes. We call them nerds. They got good grades and things like that. Now, I may not have did it myself personally, but there are people that knocked the books out of their hands and all that kind of stuff. We joined little cliques because we didn't want to be teased like that. But the reality of it is, he might be a doctor now, or he might be a movie producer now, or he might be doing something positive with his life, but I wasn't brave enough to go through what he was going through, that teasing and that perseveration, the perseveration knowing of it's going to be better later. I'm not worried about Jordans right now because I got a plan already. You get what I'm saying? I wasn't brave enough for that. So I joined the gang, thinking I'm brave. You know what I'm saying? I left home at 14 thinking I'm brave. You get what I'm saying? I did a lot of things that along the way because of being a so-called, and I'm just going to use it because I've been trying to avoid it, but being a so-called nigga. You get what I mean? Because that's what we've been taught, be a nigga. We haven't been taught be black people because we don't know how to be black people.
So as a black man, what would you tell the 18-year-old Bryant Jones?
Go to school. Better your mind as best you can, because that's all you have. Your body is not promised to you. And what I mean by that is right now, I have nerve damage in my left hand. My right hand is on the way. I have literally no cartilage in my right knee, and my left knee is on the way. And so with that, all you have is your mind. Strengthen it as much as you can. Absorb as much knowledge as you can, as much information, sort of like a computer does. Just data, intake, process. That's what I would tell myself, because that is the only way to win. It is the only way. Don't concern yourself with guns and violence and fighting and who is the toughest and who is fucking the most females, because ultimately your dick will stop working at some point for some people anyway. You get what I mean? Sometimes, okay? You keep that gun on you, somebody is gonna come along that's a little bit quicker on the trigger. Or you might end up in jail, however it goes. You get what I'm saying? There's some things that I thought that was so important and so grand is not so grand once I think about the overall scheme of life. You get what I mean? I'm 47 years old now, and I look around. I have 2 degrees now. I have a beautiful wife. She has a great job and all this kind of stuff, But I think about my life, and I'm like, what if? What if I didn't fuck up the way that because I was never stupid. I was the type of student I didn't do my schoolwork, my homework. I was a class clown, getting kicked out of school. But the little bit that I absorbed just listening during the week, I could come in and pass the test with a B plus or an A. So I was never stupid about made stupid choices that hindered me the rest of my life. And so with that, I feel like if I hadn't invited the so-called system or the white man into my life, I feel like I would be a lot better off. And I feel like that for a lot of other people too. You get what I mean?
Right on.
I understand they oppressed us. I get it. I do. But my thing is, the reality is I wasn't as oppressed as my grandfather or my
Mm,
great grandfather. You
mm.
see what I'm saying? And so I don't have the same excuse as them. Just being realistic. I hate to say it that way, but I wonder what my great grandfather would say to me today, because
Right,
he was living a totally different life than
right,
I am right now.
right.
You get what I'm saying?
The
I
civil rights
chose,
was a little
you
different.
get what I'm saying? Well,
Right.
his freedom was a lot different than my freedom. You
Mm,
get what I mean? And I
mm.
complain about my freedom and all that kind of stuff. But I'm wondering what he would say. Or even I'm not even going to use him as a good
That
example.
makes a good point though,
Yeah,
because
but you see what
I,
I'm saying?
you
Some
know,
of these ancestors that we done forgot about in 2021 because we worried about George Floyd. And don't get me wrong, it was wrong. And I'm not knocking anybody for protesting or all that, but I'm saying it has been going on. So what I'm saying is, what would they say to us today? You guys haven't made any progress. You know what I'm saying? Mentally.
right.
You're in the same boat.
Mhm.
You literally, I have guys, I don't know them, but there's guys watching me in the grocery store with my wife who will literally stab me in my back at an opportunity of having sex with her. You get
Mm,
what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And it's just that simple. That's the reality that I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? Or if they know that I got $10,000 under my mattress, they may break into my house. That's the reality that I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? Not to say, okay, that's my guy. I know he got $10,000 at his crib. I'm gonna make sure don't nobody mess with that because that's my guy and I want to see him doing good. But no, he gonna help set me up. Most likely. You get what I'm saying? Or if he know about it, he might not tell me. You get what I'm saying? Because he want to cut. And so that's the reality versus the community that helps each other. Hey man, I seen these shady characters around your crib.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Mm,
Instead of being one of the shady characters. You see what I'm saying? You know I'm gone for the weekend and I come back, my house broken into. Don't
so
nobody know who did it.
what's the number one enemy the black man got?
The number one enemy the black man has, man, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel is himself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality of it is we can be mad at white people all we want to. But like I said, man, how I see it is, and I'll just be realistic with you. I think they did it first. Like I said, they conquered most of what other countries are trying to do first. China still is trying to catch up to conquer the world. You get what I'm saying? Everybody was trying to conquer the world. That's what war is. You get what I'm saying? They just did it first. Because, like I said, it's not something that they started with the slavery and all that kind of stuff. They just did it better than the Africans was doing it because they was able to reach farther. You get what I'm saying? And I get what you mean by, yeah, there was blacks here and I'm aware of that. But what I'm saying is they weren't, they conquered in a different way. They was mingling, and you get what I'm saying, versus what they were doing in Africa, because in Africa it's still going on. You see it every single day. They have rifles now, and it's the same thing that it was back when they had slavery going on. They have Africans over there that they deem are worthless. You get what I'm saying? And what they did was the only way they could tell themselves differently back in the day was the marking, where they had maybe a bone in their lip or the neck elongations or things like that. And they were literally in the bushes. They might have been out bathing themselves 10 or 15 people from the village, and then they're all of a sudden surrounded and they got captured and they got enslaved. And that's the reality of what happened. And those 15, 10 people, they may have gotten sold to this little country outside of wherever over in Africa. And so when the white man got knowledge of this, he was like, okay, I heard y'all selling people over here. I want in. And so they took it to a different level. And that's called business. That's what we accept every single day. Look at Puff Daddy. How many entertainers have sued him because they say he fucked me over? That's business. That's part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every single day you're hearing about it. Jay-Z, they talk about, hey man, I was in the studio, I was rapping, I had this hot song. Jay walked past, he's like, oh man, that song kind of hot. And the next thing you know, Jay-Z doing the song. Is that not part of it? He made 10 million off the song. But
Mm-hmm.
is that not business? Is that not, and that's not something that the white man told Jay-Z to do. He just used a model. It is called the business model. You get what I mean? And from back in those days, they had models where they was like, Africa is a great country. lots of resources, but it's too dry. We need something that we can cultivate, and we can grow, and we can produce, and things like that. That's what the idea was about. And so that's what I'm saying. The Africans was conquering, but they were conquering themselves already because they had already deemed we have this lower class of Africans that we are willing to part with. You get what I'm saying? We can sell them off. We can get rid of them. And that's the mentality that we still have today. Oh man. These black people over here is different than me. And I could put on a brand new suit and dress shoes and everything. And me and my wife be walking looking nice and clean, but still looked down upon by my own kind. Because who do he think he is? Or that ain't nothing. Or you get what I'm saying? And it's just that simple where honestly, a white guy and his wife might be, hey man, you and your wife look good today. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And or sometimes, like for instance, me and my wife right now, we're trying to buy a house. We're kind of keeping it the secret, not really secret, but we're kind of keeping it from families and things like that because we really don't want people thinking that we got money that we don't have. We have a down payment. That's it. But if people know that we're really putting a down payment onto a house, what can I get? Hey, can I get this? My car wasn't working right today, and I was wondering, or it's starting to get cold, and the babies ain't got no coats, and you get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's not true stuff, but before you knew I was buying a house, that's not something that you was asking me to worry about. You get what I mean? Yeah. And so now that I'm buying a house, you want to bring me out of that. You want to tell me your woes and your problems so I can feel guilty for you. So now I can help you versus helping myself. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so that's what I'm saying. That's the mentality I'm talking about. I'm very aware that white people have done and will do, whatever you will let them do to you. But is it just white people? Is it anybody? Have you ever been to a Hispanic store and they try to get you for $150 for something that's really worth $10?
I'm gonna tell you how I look at it, right? My issue with life isn't a color thing. It's rich versus poor. You know what I mean? I aspire, because that's really what affects me is money. Right. You know what I mean? A white person don't really affect me. It's the wealth gap that does. Right. You know what I mean? So my fault is with the system, not necessarily an individual. Exactly. The system, that you can't dispute there's things in place to hinder us.
Oh, very much so.
You know what I mean? And that's true. I'll be wondering, like, who voted on this stuff? How did this stuff get set up like this? You know what I mean?
And that's where I was about to tell you. We voted on it or did not vote on it or things like that. Because let's be realistic. All we gonna vote for is the president. All we're voting for is the president. But there is so many elections and so many different things that you need to vote for throughout the years. But all we do is vote every 4 years. And we only vote if it's somebody we like. Right? I mean, let's be realistic. That's what a lot of it be. Like, for instance, right now, when we just had this thing with Joe Biden and Donald Trump, okay, we had young people out who had never voted before, don't even know how to vote, but they're pretty much listening to their friends and their parents and things like that. They're not going out and doing the actual research to find out why they're voting for this person or why they're not voting for this person, but they're just, you know what I'm saying, they're caught up in the moment of vote. But what about all those people that you voted for or didn't vote for that either supports Donald Trump or doesn't support Donald Trump? Those are the votes that matter. What about those ones that you getting these judges and these district attorneys, these prosecuting attorneys, into your local court system and these different mayors and things like that who also support Donald Trump? You get what I'm saying? Or his policies and things like that. That's right here in your city. That's what's affecting you more than the broad picture. You get what I mean? But we don't vote for those kind of things. We don't look at those kind of things. You get what I'm saying? Because it's not big enough. They don't advertise.
Yeah, we should push more education on a city and a state.
Yeah.
politics, legislation, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Do your
It's
research.
overlooked.
Don't just vote because that's who popular. Because the reality is, it might not be Donald Trump or Joe Biden. You might choose independent, or you might choose Green Party because you like those better. You get what I'm saying?
Right. One more thing I want to touch on before, you know, like you mentioned you married,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to talk a little bit about the African American father, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What is it, what is it like being a stepfather, and what are some of the pluses and some of the minuses, some of the
Okay.
obstacles and some of the balance?
Just being honest with you, man. I feel like the balance is growing together. It's a beautiful thing, when it works and things like that. Me and my wife, like I said, we worked our way to buying a house now. Like I said, I've been in trouble. I've had I have felonies. I have them now. That's from the '90s. But the reality is, like I said, I had a job where I worked hard. I went and got 2 degrees while I worked. I got an opportunity to get out of the factories. I was working in the factories to where I had a job. I was going to be wearing a tie and a shirt every day. But then my hands gave out on me. I have carpal tunnel syndrome, what they call tenosynovitis, and I have nerve damage in my left arm. And so I don't have the typing capabilities like I was. So I don't have gripping. And so it's like it helped us grow in some aspects of, I was able to work until she was able to take over in her job. And you get what I mean? And so now I'm on disability, and so it's balancing each other out, but the reality is it's not been easy because what we've been talking about the whole time, the black mentality, the growth that black people have and don't have. Because even though we were trying to strive together with goals and we both are highly educated people and all that, we still have these hangups as black people that kind of held us back. Okay, like for instance, I'll give you an example, like being a stepfather. I never tried to take the place of my stepchildren's father. I was always trying to be myself and explain like this is who I am. I've been in this situation where I didn't have a father in my home. Okay. And so with that, I've gone through that hurt. I've gone through that pain. So I'm here to kind of help you through that. But as time went on, it translated more into you're not my daddy and all this kind of stuff. And we have problems that resulted from that. You get what I mean? Where it wasn't that I was trying to be your father, and then you have family members who are in their ear, and you don't have to listen, and you don't have to do this, and you don't have to do that. And even adults, you get what I'm saying? Because of that black people mentality of my, just, and I'm just gonna be honest, ain't no father in my house. So you know what I'm saying? I'm internally I'm jealous and I can't understand that. So I'm gonna try to, bring my anger over here. The same way as like I was saying, me and my wife doing good, people want to bring us down. It's that same mentality, So we've had struggles and we've had issues that we worked through, And so I mean, but it's like I said, I believe that it's God that has helped us through this though. You see what I'm saying? Because some of those times where we been ready to give up and all that kind of stuff, when we submitted back to God or when we given our hearts to God, he helps us, he works it out pretty much before we even really, get an opportunity to. And then we like, man, yeah, we know. You know what I'm saying? We know what we should be doing and we know the goal and things like that. You get what I'm saying? So like I'm saying, I think a lot of it is just that whole dynamic of being black. And it's not just that, because marriages work and marriages don't work. And it's just that simple. The idea is man, female, you're trying to get them together. We was already bred to think differently. Man is supposed to think this way, woman is supposed to think that way, and you're trying to mesh it together. You get what I'm saying? And then so when you add hurt and pain and into things, you get what I'm saying? You really don't know how to handle a lot of things. You have outside noise, do this, do that, and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. You get what I'm saying? That kind of tries to come in and interrupt things, but once you really get over that, okay, the black thing and just look at Are we in love and are we trying to do things the right way? We know we're gonna struggle. We know where we come from as far as like we know how our families are because there's a lot of pain and stuff still going on amongst the family. So we know how that are. We know how that is. Are we going to continue to let that bring us down, or are we going to build on it, continue to build on what we've been building on and moving on? Because we have 12 years of marriage now, and so it's like, are we going to keep
Right.
on building? You get what I'm saying? Are we going to keep on building, or will we fester in what people want from us and expect from us? They expect us to separate and get divorced and be done with each other and all that kind of stuff because that's what make people happy. Oh, I told you they weren't gonna make it. And I knew it, man. I knew, man. Shoot, I wonder if I could holler at her and all this. Different whatever people thought processes are. We know how people think and different things like that. So it's like just just the whole navigating, just being honest. Like I told you, I left home at 14 years old. So just becoming a man, first of all, because I didn't have that father figure. So just trying to navigate and become a man for myself while trying to be married and be a stepfather and all that kind of stuff, being a father, because I also have biological children, and I tried to keep them, you know, with the realization that I don't love my stepchildren anymore. And I wanted my stepchildren to realize I don't love my children anymore than I do you. We're a family. We're all in this together. If one gets, the other gets. You know what I'm saying? If it's your birthday, you're gonna get what you're supposed to get for your birthday, the same as somebody else. You get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna alienate you because you're not my biological. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna. That's not how I was. That's not who I am now. You get what I'm saying? So with that, it's like if you want to um if you want to really have anything, you have to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so with that, we have some struggles. We've had some issues and we still do. There's still tension sometimes and all that because like I said, I'm not the biological father. But I believe in all my heart that ultimately from me being the person that I am and representing the things that I have, the morals and the standards of, like I said, I'm not going to treat you any different, all that kind of stuff. They do know that I love them and I care for them and I will protect them and all that kind of stuff. No matter how much, they may act like they're upset with me sometimes and all that kind of stuff. You get what I'm saying? They know who I am. And so they know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. They know the love that I have for them. So that's what I'm saying. Just the whole mentality of being Black and navigating no identity. I feel like a lot of it is they think that this is what they're supposed to do because you have this bad stigma of stepfathers as it is. Oh, it's just a stepfather. It's just I like to call it the stepped on father. Okay, because you have this bad stigma. You see the movies, you see the cartoons, you see the children's shows, even where they're portraying the stepfather as this bad person and whatnot. And realistically, that's not how it is a lot of times. A lot of times, the stepfather is a person who has stepped in and he really has done good in people's lives. Now, the appreciation level or the respect level sometimes isn't as high as the work that this person may have put in, but you kind of know that going in though. You don't go in looking
It's a
for
thankless job.
right. You don't go in looking for awards and pats on the back or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. But just being honest, sometimes you don't expect it to get as bad as sometimes it gets. You get what I mean?
Right.
But it's the trade-off. You get what I'm saying? When you saying better or worse, so do you really destroy a marriage because you had to cuss at your kid today? And they may have raised their voice back at you and stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
so that's what I'm saying. It's been a battle, but it's a lot better than it was. And so like I said, just I think a lot of just the whole navigating life as a Black person, period. You know what I'm saying? That hindered us you know, but now that we're coming together, because we have a better understanding of the Black culture and how we've been treated and what we do to ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And so that also has brought us together, once we really got the understanding of it's not just white people doing it to us. You get what I'm saying? And that's what
Right.
I'm saying. I know white people want every opportunity. They not, and it's not all white people, you know, but I know the reality is they will mess us over and all that kind of stuff. But my thing is, you know, we have to remember we're doing it to ourselves too, and we always have. That's always been the mentality, and it's not just us. You know, the white people do it to themselves. They have a whole community that they call trailer trash and poor white trash and all this kind of stuff. And literally, it may be their cousin. You get what I mean? Who is this their aunt? This is their aunt Peggy, and they just happen to live in the trailer park, but they call them trailer trash. You know, and they're middle class or whatever, but they literally grew up down the street from them. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
not just, that's what I'm saying. It's not just white people. It's human. It's the human race as a whole. We do it to each other. You go to some of these other countries, they have the same thing going on. They have a class of people that they deem are less than, and they treat them that way. You get what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that white people haven't done some deplorable things in life and in history. You get what I'm saying? But if you look at it, think about a Saddam Hussein. He was killing his own people by the thousands. You get what I'm saying? By the thousands. You know, think about it, Idi Amin. You know, they slaughtering by the thousands, their own people, their own kind. You get what I'm saying? So it's not just a color thing, it's a dominating thing. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, I hate to say it that way, but you know, the Asian culture, they were easier to dominate. The Native Americans were easier to dominate. We were a challenge for them. You know, it was like competition. It was like, you know, ha, I had to put in a little work with that one. You get what I mean?
Right.
Right? You see what I'm saying? It was like, man, I had to put in a little work, but I had to break that bull. You get what I'm saying? So it was a little more work to be put in. You get what I'm, if you can understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you, cuz I follow. That's interesting. You know what I mean? Interesting way to look at it. Interesting dynamic to it, man. Um
You know, because I mean, you got to think about it. The Native Americans, they were the Asians, they were ready to assimilate. They were ready to say, okay, we're gonna live like y'all. We'll dress like y'all, we'll talk like y'all. But black people fought it. We fought it the whole time, even to 2021. We sit around and we point out all the stuff that white people have stolen from us. They stole this, they stole that, they steal this, they steal this. But we're not realizing this point. Let me tell you this point. We wear clothes because of white people. Okay, we live in houses. We wear Gucci because of white people, because they do it. And it's like whatever they do, we want to do. So how is it that they're stealing everything from us? If we really look at it, aren't we kind of copying them? Elvis Presley learned how to shake from a black woman. He learned how to gyrate from a black woman. So obviously he was going to gyrate when he got popular because he learned how to gyrate from a black woman. Okay, you get me? There were, think about how many big reds from the 5 heartbeats there was. Remember Big Red hung the
mhm.
dude out the window. Think
Yeah.
about how many black men were exploiting other.
I because it I
Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's not just a white thing. It's a human thing. The point is, I want to dominate, and you're the one I can dominate. If you let me dominate you, I'm gonna dominate you. That's just human nature.
I I just there's a dynamic in me that uh I just can't give the system a pass. I can't
Oh no,
give
I don't give the
white
system a
people a
pass at
pass.
all.
You know
I
what I
don't.
mean?
I don't.
I can't
But this
just
is my point.
overlook.
This
So
is my point.
wait. Let me finish. I can't when I talk about things and the way people act, and you say like you're basically saying we're our own worst enemy,
No,
right?
let me explain.
I
Just let me say
but
this one
why,
point. Let me say this
right?
one point. Okay, listen. Let me say this one point. Okay, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this analogy. Just imagine being in the woods, okay, and you're sitting out in the woods leaning against a tree, or even sitting against a tree, and you're watching this dude over here setting this bear trap up, okay? and he putting the leaves, he opened the mouth up and everything. He's setting the trap up. He covered it up with leaves and all that kind of stuff. And then he goes over here and he sets another trap up in the same manner. Okay. Then after he leaves the area, you go over to the trap and put your foot in. Mm-hmm. Who's wrong? You watched him set this trap.
You are.
That's my point. I stuck my foot in that trap, and there's millions of us who did. Now there's many people who got falsely accused, all that kind of stuff, but it's even white people, it's Hispanic people. But all I'm saying is, if you seeing them build this trap, if you sitting here watching, I mean, literally, you're sitting on the tree with your friends, y'all talking about them building these traps. The news is telling you they're building these traps. Everybody is telling you they're building these traps, and as soon as they clear the area, everybody go put their foot in the trap. Who fought this?
I agree.
That's all I'm saying. I get it. They set the traps for us. I get it. They set the traps for us. They're there. I fell for it. I put my foot in the trap.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? I didn't have to. I did. I didn't believe it. Let me see. And I did it. Even though I watched them set it up, I knew what would happen, all that stuff. And I did it anyway. You get what I'm saying? So my thing is, yeah, I can easily hold on to anger because I got caught in that trap and they set that system up for me to get caught. I didn't have to put my foot in the trap. That's my point. I didn't have to fall for the trap. That's all I'm saying. Now we know there are some circumstances where people didn't have a choice and they got snatched into the trap.
I understand 1,000%, and you are 1,000% right. But for whatever reason, and maybe it's some type of complex with me, I still have a hard time blaming Black people for our conditions. You know what I mean? Because I live in this skin. You know what I mean? So I know what it's like. I know what the obstacles are like. Sometimes you can do everything right and not get the opportunity. Like, how many times you've been overlooked for raises you deserve? You know what I mean? Like, how many times you've been overlooked for opportunities you deserve? You know what I mean? Like, why are our schools horrible?
Yeah.
In the Black community, because you like the school, like you know how they fund the school, cuz with property taxes. So obviously in the Black community, it's riddled. So the property taxes are a lot less than in the white community. The school should be across the board. It should have nothing. It should have nothing to do with the property taxes. That's, you know what I mean? And I live in Muskegon where, you know what I mean, the schools are bad, and it's because of the area is bad. You can go 2 blocks this way to Norton Shores, and it's a different reality. Yeah. You know what I mean? So some things are in place, and then like the fact that, you know, if you do get in trouble, we get 2 to 3 times more time than our counterparts. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff.
You seen them make
our control.
Right. That's what I mean.
It's a lot of stuff that's out of our control. It's a lot of stuff that hinder us. That it's a lot of hidden battles, and I don't think people understand.
It is, but also that's my point. Think about just how you just pointed out all that stuff about the school and not having the resources and everything like that. All right. Those exact same schools in Muskegon, think about how many Black people made it out and are successful. That's my point. Think about it. Hang on, hear me. Think about how many in those exact same schools. Think about how many was like, okay, my circumstances are messed up, but I'm not going to let that hold me back. And all I'm saying is, I was one of the ones who felt like my circumstances is enough to hold me back. And so I let it help hold me back. You know what I'm saying? Even though I have family members who didn't. And literally, I have a cousin, he works with NBA players, training them. He's a coach over in China. He's won a couple of championships and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? He made choices. But we have the same lineage.
But it you know, like some people, you know,
I think a lot of it is, oh, woe is me, you know. Just being honest, because we're so used to, like I said, not having anything and wanting
it's
something, and but we don't know how to get it because we don't know how to identify. We don't have like Polish holidays and Polish celebrations and all that stuff that we do amongst each other. We barely can get together for a barbecue or a family reunion. You get what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
And that's our reality. So with that, that's all I'm saying is I get it. There are systems in play and all that kind of stuff. But at what point do we start trying to come together for ourselves? And I'm not talking about a huge I'm talking about just a regular, you're my family, I'm your family. Let's have a family reunion without fighting and arguing and shooting at each other and all that kind of stuff.
And it's
You get what I'm saying? And so
because
with that, go ahead.
this part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast, right? Because I've been fortunate enough to navigate a little bit. I'm not where I want to be in life, but if I continue to do what I'm doing, my future's bright, right? There's so many people along my journey that just didn't have the resources, just didn't have the knowledge, or maybe just didn't have the mindset I had.
And
you know what I mean? Point. So I wanna try to.
Did you hear? You just proved my point.
Right.
You just proved my point. Let me tell you, listen, you just said it, did not have the mindset you had. The same as me, because I hit that wall about my disability and I was in a deep, dark depression. And I could understand how some people don't come out of it because of the mentality. And that's all I've been talking about this whole time. I don't feel that it's, you kind of proving my point. I don't feel that it's any certain race that's holding me back because it's a mental thing first.
I don't.
You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that
I agree with you that
like an abused wife.
Ultimately it's on you, right? I agree with you, right?
Like, listen, after a while, the abused wife really starts to feel like she's stupid. You get what I'm saying? She really starts to feel like she's nothing. She really starts to feel like she's worth it. Okay. Now, some of them eventually will break out of it, but some never do. And they live their whole life that way. They beat down, they downwritten, they downtrodden artists. They have no hope. And that's how they live the rest of their life until their days are gone. But some are able to snap out of that abuse and say, no, I'm not stupid. No, I'm not worth it. No, I'm not what you have built for me to be. That's my point. We've been abused so long. We don't have that mental capacity sometimes to say, I want better for myself. Forget what a white man have set up for me. I want better for myself.
It wasn't easy. And I don't fault anybody. I don't fault anybody who wasn't able to climb out of poverty, man.
Nobody said it's supposed to be easy. Man. Nobody said it's supposed to be easy. Nobody said it was supposed to be easy. That was not part of the promise. The promise is if you live, you die.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Nobody said any of this was going to be easy. Nobody said we were supposed to have answers. No, that's not what it's supposed to be about. But in the meantime, all we do is argue and fight about it. You know what I'm saying? We look for the controversy. We look for the negativity. And it's not just black. It's human. We go on YouTube and look for the violence and the fights and you get what I mean?
Right. So let's wrap this up. In closing, right? Okay. What message would you want to give to the listeners if they was tuning in to us tonight and heard your story? You know what I mean? Give them one last message. Give them some solutions, right?
Okay. I'm telling you, like I said to my 18-year-old self, the number one thing is educate yourself, no matter what it is about. If it's about how to build screwdrivers to I feel like religion is false or whatever it is, don't just be talking. Educate yourself as much as you can, absorb as much as you can, because that is the only thing you have is your mind. Okay. They can lock you up as many times and in many places as they can, but the only thing they really can't control is your mind. And we know they can with drugs and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about fulfill your dreams by educating yourself. And it's just that simple. as much as you can learn about whatever you want to learn, do it. It's out here. The resources are here. There's no excuse to not being able to learn. You get what I mean? They have special ed teachers. They have special ed tutors. Educate yourself.
I'm look right at the camera, man. Knowledge is power. And he's absolutely right. The more you know, the more you worth. Point blank simple. I appreciate you tonight, Brian, man. It's been amazing, my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would love to have you back, man. And
definitely anytime.
This is Conversations with Kaotick. We are at K Studios. Thank y'all for tuning in.